What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense. I do not know what's about to happen. These panels can go left. So definitely grab a drink if you drink and at least some popcorn. Like the video's intro plays. We got a lot to get into.
Could somebody please make it make sense?
Make it make sense to me in election.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. Made sense.
Make it make sense. You knew what was up.
Big moves.
Surfer.
Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dream. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dream. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
The dogs call. For many days I didn't bring him here because I suffer when he bites me. I'm in my vagina. When I'm walking and he sees other dog, he right away, he jump on my vagina because he gets so crazy. He doesn't know who I am. He forgets everything.
Look at me. What'd I say? No. Come here. Look at me. Hey. Look at me. No.
I don't know why I still think that lady is so funny. That was one of the original YouTube videos that I saw along with Excuse My Beauty. I hope that in 2025 the dog is not still biting her vagina. I hope that her vagina is bite free from animals. If something else is biting her vagina and it's consensual, great. But I hope that her dog is no longer biting her vagina because he gets so crazy. He just them little dogs. Okay, I'm sorry. So I want to do this a little bit differently. I got Amy J in the background. Guys, you can hit the link. Everybody's opinion counts. We're just the court of public opinion around here. So Amy J is gonna be more team Jess. I'm just really quickly just seeing who's team who, or if you're not team anybody. So Paula, who are you team?
I was team Jess.
Okay, gotcha. Justice, who are you team? Justice, you're muted. Who are you team?
Team Jess.
Okay. Taya, who are you team?
I'm team Jester.
Okay, so we got 4 team Justice. Which is cool. It's okay. Anybody else coming up, team anybody is cool. But I wanted to kind of do it like staggered, like team Jess, team nobody, team Loren, team whomever. But okay. Amy J, you're up.
Well, like I said before, okay. Hey guys, how everybody doing? I personally, here's the thing. I think Loren is an amazing addition to the Breakfast Club. And to be honest with you, if it was any other conversation we were having without Jess's input, I would have said it was Team Loren. So, but after hearing Jess's grievance, I have to agree the way they introduced her to us, outside of her filling in for Jess, it was almost as if they were doing a soft launch to take over. And I feel like, and to a certain extent, it's almost like you can't look at it with the eyes that we did before. Because I was looking at it like Jess is just not doing her job. She's just not hitting the marks. She needs to go. I literally heard myself saying that, like, she needs to go. But if you think about it, the way they introduced her, they kind of gave her all of Jess' talking points. They gave her like her own like rumor report, like Angela Yee. And I mean, it's no like with any clear eyes, you can see Loren is just more skilled and more like right for the job of journalism than Jess. But I feel like if they introduced Jess, well, if they had her come in and had Jess initially being just the comic relief, it would have been better. But at this point, we kind of know she doesn't really read well from cue cards. She's not really prepped for the show. She doesn't really know much. And in some cases, when you have these shows, these ensemble casts, you do have to like build each person's personality and how it fits with the group. I don't think they did that with Jess and Loren. So for that reason, I do think I'm team Jess because Jess needs a fair shot at her position on the show outside of what they already did. But I mean, at this point, it is what it is.
Okay. Since everybody's team Jess, I'm gonna have to play devil's advocate and push back.
Okay.
Because I thought it would be at least
I mean, I'm so torn
30,
about this,
20.
and I love Lauren. I love Lauren in her position. I'm sorry, I have to be honest. Lauren does good.
So I'm in the world of corporate America, and I feel like corporate America does not necessarily give you a heads up. So although I can understand Jess's frustration, I just would have handled it differently. And I think that was the crux of my issue. Then, I talked to some people and people told me, Jess might be going through some form of postpartum. And I was like, okay. And then, is it necessarily fair that your replacement comes in while you are on maternity leave and maybe they like your replacement better? Is that fair? Absolutely not. Is that an unfortunate possibility? Yeah. What do you think, Amy?
Uh Here's the thing. What you said is correct, but I feel like watching their private meeting public
Hmm.
has made me look at them like, because this is kind of how the meat's cooked. We don't know how the meat's cooked. We don't know what goes on in these rooms and how they operate. There was a high level of gaslighting. And to be honest with you, I don't think Jess understood the level of like work she's going to have to put in for the job. And that part, I have to agree. I don't think she was aware of what she needed to get done. Because to be honest with you, in those cases, like you said, corporate's not going to tell you you have to pick up the pace. You're just going to have to figure things out on your own. And that part, I feel like her lashing out and flipping out online is something par for the course because she kind of started online. I think she is so used to communicating with her fan base that way, it's made it difficult for us to see why it's just so not right for her to do that. That's just my opinion because a lot of her, like even when they were telling her not to read the comments, that's how she's built herself. She's basically paid attention to what her fan base likes by reading comments and constantly coming back on and doing this like was a slapstick comedy where she makes these stupid jokes and people laugh at it. So I mean, I'm being honest with you.
I
I
call her like
like
a situational comedian, but I think I just made that up.
yeah, but but I've seen her in other forums too, because she had her own podcast with her child's father, and it was a really well informed and really well like managed. And how she did her work was very like like it was like very like well done. Like she seemed like she did a good job like researching and making these topics and having these long discussion forums with four people as panel mates. But she was leading the discussion. At this point, I don't know who's leading the discussion in Breakfast Club. You got Charlamagne, you got Loren, who's well like prepared. You have Envy, who's never really contributed. Let's be honest. Envy kind of comes in and says yes, no, maybe so. And then you have Lauren, who's really like gelling well because she kind of fits the Angela Lee prototype. I'm just saying, I don't think they
No,
should have.
Amy, you're absolutely right. I was just having this conversation with another YouTuber. The thing is, they went a different direction than Angela.
Yeah, and it didn't work.
And it may not have worked. We don't know what the behind the scenes are with the ratings. We don't know what the focus groups are saying, and we don't know what the higher ups are saying. Do I 100% believe if I was an employee and I felt like I was getting pushed out, would I be upset? Yes.
Yeah.
But for me personally,
She didn't fit the mold though from the beginning.
She was not the Angela Yee mold. It was a trial, and we do know that the Angela Yee mold worked.
Yeah.
But there's things that I didn't hear, and I'm not like the newest generation. What is it, Generation Y, where they don't really take shit. If it is 1 minute past 5, they're gone.
Yeah.
I'm from the generation where I guess I would be considered like a workhorse.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the time in. I'm gonna overachieve.
Yeah.
I needed to hear more about the conversation. Like I went to my superiors and I said, what am I not doing effectively? How can I improve whatever the ratings are? Is there something that I could be doing different? All I heard from Jess was, why is she still here? I thought that we had a plan she was going to fill in for me and then she was going to be gone. What I did not hear is, and that just might be me. I might just be one of those old school workhorses that,
But that was the part the conversation just wasn't honest. If I was there and if I was a really genuine, if they were genuinely honest with her, your slapstick comedy is not gelling well with the demo that we're trying to reach, and Loren seems to fit into what we first created with Angela, with a different face, with a little different, somewhat of a different twist. That's just the reality of the situation.
No, Dina said I'm Generation Z. I'm working right now.
Oh, but yeah.
There are differences. This little dude is super viral.
But I just don't think she ever fit well with them. Could we be honest? I don't really like slapstick comedy. The stuff that she was doing was not funny to me. Did I like her on the internet? Yes. Did I like her on the podcast with her baby daddy? Yes. On the Breakfast Club? No. I just feel like they weren't honest with her. And that was the part that, like, that whole thing of, like, when she was saying, I asked and I couldn't understand. Just tell her the truth. We went a different direction, and now we realize that's not what we want. Because Charlamagne really is there for the comic relief. They don't need two comedians. Not to say he's a comedian, but he is there to create, like, this, like, jovial experience, right? Like, he lightens the mood, or he makes it tense for the interviewers. Jess couldn't even interview people correctly. She didn't even have the right questions.
Hold on real quick, Amy. I'm going to keep you up for a minute. Taya, you've been hearing what we're talking about. Your team, Jess. Go ahead.
I went through like stages. Okay. So when I first heard it, I was annoyed with Jess with how she laid everything out last night, how she aired it out. I'm whatever generation. I'm the workhorse generation where, there's chain of command. You send emails, you put stuff in writing, you address, like I am from that era. However, after I listened to a few more rounds of it, other different perspectives, and then them on the air this morning, I got a completely different understanding of it. So for one, I felt like Indian Sharp. Excuse me?
No, Amber dropped down. I was saying she was up next.
For one, I felt like I kind of feel like they're kind of playing the women against each other, which I don't like that. I do like the part where Jess was like, she understood at some point, hey, you know what, my anger is misdirected. And so she took Loren out the equation and she directed her anger to where she felt as though it needed to go, which was Charlamagne and Envy. This was handled totally unprofessionally. They were gaslighting her. They was on some BS, and I felt like her airing it out in all actuality might have helped her. I'm also curious as to how much like a FMLA or something like that plays a part, because I should be able to take my maternity leave and come back and have my job. My job should be secure. I don't know how that works with radio contracts and all of that. I'm not going to pretend to, but I'm curious as to if her airing it out, if that actually benefited her. And now from a PR perspective, we can't make it look like, oh, she went on maternity leave and we're trying to get rid of her now because she had a baby or because she's going through postpartum. Earlier you was live and I had made a comment when I first heard that they had aired it out, let them talk through it on air. And at first I was just like, oh, the ghetto, like this is just so ghetto. But as I listened to it, I was actually glad that they did that. And I felt like maybe if Fox Soul or whatever they call, if maybe they had did that with the whole Armand and Al thing, maybe they might have been able to work through it. But I actually appreciated that they not only did they discuss it online, but they even opened up the phone lines and let the callers call in, and not team A or team B, but express how they felt as though how everything went down. And it was a miscommunication. We do also work in an era where there's a lot of messy management going on, where you all usually know how to do your job better than your manager. Your manager don't know how to control or don't know how to maneuver around different situations. And they just leave everything to be messy. And it turns the workplace into, like she said, a high school. And what grown person with bills to pay, with a family to raise, who wants to be dealing with a messy high school? I graduated high school. I don't want to be in a high school situation all over again. But also,
really quick, Taya, because you made some very valid points. I want to say from a PR vantage, I love that my subscribers are smart. I love that I can have these actual conversations with y'all. You made a very valid point. If Jess put this out there and now it's public, then PR wise, it would be very difficult to get rid of her because people are rallying around her and they understand that the corporate structure, for her at least, was not fair. So I mean, you were definitely on point. But do you feel that she takes accountability for what she might lack in aptitude for the job? Did you hear her actively say, I tried to improve, or did you hear her say, this is not what I was here for?
I heard her say, this is not what I was here for, which I understand that as well. If I accept a position and I'm told my job duties and responsibilities or the requirements of the job is XYZ, which is, this is how I felt as though she took it. Y'all told me my requirements was XYZ. Y'all didn't tell me I had to read well or something, whatever that comment was.
No, it's not that she does not read well. I think she's not good at prompter reading. That she reads well. She just can't do it on cue.
But you know what? The fact that she said that made me feel like everything that she was authentic. Like she, it might not have been.
It was hard as a struggle to listen to her, right? Yes, I was like, she's not being herself because Jess is just more. I can't explain it. She has more ease to herself when she's doing on her own platforms. Why are you laughing?
Okay, it can be difficult. I've sat here for hours and had to read legal briefs and stuff. I can definitely attest to the fact that it can be difficult. However, if part of your job description is just with the mess and it's to fill in where Angela Yee is now,
but that's the point. They were trying to break the mold, right? And that's how they got her to come on.
Had a segment, and if she didn't take that segment as serious, then that's all that I'm saying. I don't feel that she's wrong for feeling slighted. They're moving somebody in. She's clearly talking to management. They're not telling her what's going on, like most corporate situations.
But didn't she say she asked what was going on, and they're like, nothing's going on? What do you mean? No, she's just here to fix the light bulb. She's
doing yourself.
And you know what? While she's fixing the light bulb, we wanted to talk a little bit.
Taya, that's what I just said. She did say that behind the scenes, she asked the question, and they were not being upfront with her. So I'm saying I agree with you. I can understand her frustration. But with that being said, if the job has shifted and you're not saying, well, where am I lacking? Then I fault you for that.
Well, I feel like because I feel like
you can read.
No, I'm saying
that wasn't a requirement.
Loren, can I just butt in real quick?
Tommy,
go ahead.
Because we got a whole backstage.
I just want to say, look, I love Jess and the progress that she's made from her social media platform to being on the syndicated radio show. But to me, she has always been unprofessional and unprepared. And when you show up to work, not only unprofessional, but unprepared, it translates bad to your bosses and it translates bad to the viewers. And to think that we wouldn't be able to see that, it's kind of like, it doesn't make sense to me. So I understand her feeling slighted about going on maternity leave and then coming back and feeling like someone replaced her. But in the same sense, if you had have taken that initiative to just do the extra research, practice your lines before you come to work the next morning, be prepared for your position because you know you're replaceable. Why wouldn't you do that? So to me, I just felt like Jess didn't take any accountability and she was blaming everybody else. And you can have those problems with your employer. And I agree. She should have those problems. But the way that she went about it was completely wrong. And attacking your co-stars and telling Loren to hush up, shut up, being videoed, being on your phone while the Wendy Williams segment was going on, all of it is just unprofessional. And Jess doesn't look good on this show. She doesn't fit good. And Loren came and took her spot, and I'm not mad at her. She has the credentials, she has the education, she meshes well, and the viewers like her. From a business standpoint, what else would you do?
I
From a
mean, it's
business
nothing to
standpoint, I
complain.
would sit her down and let her know, like, listen, while you were gone, some things have come to light, or we've decided on making different changes, and these are the changes. To me, if they had done that, that would have gave her that avenue to say, well, how can I improve? Like what Mims is asking me. That if they had sat down and was honest with her, I think then she would have took the accountability of saying, even though for me, I'm an overachiever, so I want to
Yeah.
be the best. And when I first start somewhere, whoever's the top in the company or whoever's the top in that department, I want to sit next to that person because I want to know how to be the top person like that. But if they had
Mm.
sat her down and they were honest with her, I think that would have gave her the opportunity to say, well, hey, what do I need to be better? Or what do I need to go to mesh with the new direction that y'all are trying to go?
Okay, but
Yeah.
they've said that they've had these conversations. Jess is saying, well, y'all were vague about it. Well, y'all didn't tell me this. Jess is the same one that says she didn't recall Loren and the EP being in a meeting where Loren told her she didn't appreciate her telling to shut up on air. So, how reliable of a source are you? And do you just not remember that we've had these conversations?
Ooh. Could I say? Could I say? Oh my God. Okay. Could I say something?
So
That was
Amy, yeah. Amy,
that's a good one.
hold on one second. Amy, jump in, and then as soon as Amy's done, Paula jump in and tell us if we all crazy. So Amy, jump in.
Okay, so that was a good one, Tommy. I agree 100%. But at the end of the day, I do think the direction they were going with Jess wasn't necessarily the prototype that they're doing now with Lauren. And that's where the situation kind of falls apart for me. Because after listening to her speak, and then also I've watched Jess on her podcast with her child's father. She's good at what she does when she's not like put in a corporate structure. I personally feel like once they kind of put you in a position where you're questioning yourself, like her showing up and them not explaining to her what's really going on, we're going to stick with the old prototype with the new girl. Lauren, they put her in a position where the insecurity just became too much and she just fell on her horse.
Jess's insecurities are her own problem, which is exactly what Envy was trying to point out. She
Yes,
said,
but that's what I'm trying
well,
to say.
my
But if
problem,
everyone's not being honest about the prototype of what they want for the show,
I'm not
they
speaking about the
weren't.
prototype.
They were not.
I'm not speaking about the prototype. Envy specifically said, stop reading the comments and letting them get to you. Charlamagne said the same thing. I live in the comments, but I don't let that stuff get to me. Jess is reading YouTube comments, Instagram comments, and letting it affect her self-esteem. If
Yeah,
you know
because
you're
it
good
makes
at what
sense. They were saying stuff that we all agreed to. Why is she doing just the mess segment? She literally said, "It says just the mess," and she's like, "Hey, Lauren, what's going on over there?" That is confusing the hell to me. I was like, "Why is she doing your segment if it says just the mess? Shouldn't you be reading the teleprompter
I'm not
and telling us
talking
what the
about
news
that. And
is?"
Or
once
better
you reach
yet, I
a
think she
certain
That
made the.
was
I think
something
she
that was a
even
good
made the comment.
assumption that she. Huh? I'm sorry.
I think she even made the comment where she, like, basically, y'all are all gaslighting me. I'm asking y'all what's going on. Nobody's telling me what's going on. And it seemed like to her, like, well, online is where they're telling me what's going on.
And for
Because
nobody
me,
whatever they're
told her
saying
what was going
online,
I
it
on.
had
All
seems
to
we
like I'm
say
said
coming
to
is
to
she
work and
looks
that's
like
what I'm
a
seeing
myself,
hater to
happen.
Lauren.
I literally
And
said
if
to
that's
myself,
bothering
why
you
is
so
she
much,
doing
then maybe
just the
you need
mess
to take a look
segment?
in the
Hold
mirror
on, guys.
if
Hold
you
on,
feel
guys.
the same way
Hold on.
that the commoners feel.
Hold on one second. Paula's gonna tell us if we all crazy.
Oh, okay. I'm
Paula,
sorry. Go ahead.
are we
No, I
crazy?
am not. So, I think that all y'all have a good point, and I think it was either Taya, I believe it was Taya that had one of the better points, and then Amy, and then the other lady, Amy, Amika is. So I'm going in order. So one of the better points was about how they handled her in the back office, the management handled her. So this is what I got out of it. Just Hilarious had not been on the show long, and she went out on maternity leave, right?
Mm.
So when she went out on maternity leave, I think it was a burn to the people that brought her on the show. Now, do I think that they brought her on the show because she had a platform and she had a following? They were looking at her numbers like a lot of times these people are looking at your followers that you bring with you to your new influence job, whatever that is, in Breakfast Club, being a whatever she is, that she talks on there, she's bringing a fan base. I'm not
Like
sure
people are
about
giving women
Lauren.
women of the year.
Why
Say
are
what?
you? Messing with us.
So 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 I think she had a fan base for some years, I guess, from being on there with Nick Cannon. So and all the things that she's done and her accolades along the way. And it sounds favorable according to some of the other comments that were made about the different podcasts and things that she had that she brought with her. So when they hired her, I imagine that the Breakfast Club management interviewed lots of people. They could have actually interviewed Lauren LaRosa. Who knows? I don't know. But in the meantime, when she goes out on maternity leave, she left herself wide open. And this is what happens in corporate America. And I know you know memes and the ladies know. When you go out on maternity leave, you in trouble. Because if they have to bring in a contractor or they have to bring in your coworker that does a better job than you and outshines you, you in trouble. It's like you in trouble, girl. So when she came back to her job, I believe that they already had Lauren's application, her resume, and everything in their back pocket. And so
Lauren
when
just
she
fits better.
Well, wasn't Loren already working there as a producer?
I believe she was
Yes,
there.
she
okay,
said Jess was her talent.
so she's the talent already. So let me just leave it out there like that. So she was already the talent there. So when she came back to work and she was Lauren was filling in, then you had the unfortunate situation of being compared against your colleague. And everybody on here is like, Lauren has it hands down. And this is not the first time I heard it. I saw it in other places, the blogs, influencers, everybody, they love Lauren. And they're like, she's pretty, she's talented, she just is the whole package. And so how do you match up with the package when you come back to work? Then Mims mentioned, in the other live that he did, that issue of Lauren trying to hand her off the Wendy Williams information. And it's like some beef back and forth or whatever. Like, why are you bothering me? You must not have no kid at the house or whatever it was that she said to Lauren when Lauren was trying to catch her up on this is, the topic. This is what we're going to talk about or whatever. And then the energy came back to work like, I can't stand her. But what do you do with that when your competition has been handed to you? It's like the person that hands you your job and is telling you this. They're saying Lauren is going to take your job in so many words. That's what I got out of it. When they tried to say, well, we're going to bring in a fourth chair. And she's like, well, y'all didn't say this about Claudia. Y'all wasn't talking about a fourth chair and all these other instances. Why y'all talking about a fourth chair? And I think they're trying to ease her out, going back to what Taya said about a maternity leave issue. I think it does go to a FMLA or a legal issue about how things work with that company, with FMLA, and they're trying to unask this girl from her job by transitioning her out, by saying now, oh, you just not a good fit. And I think that's an ugly way to do her like that. And that's how I'm gonna leave that one. But I think everybody on the panel had a lot of things that they brought that was very good points.
Hold on. So I think the next one is Amica. Let us know if we're crazy.
No, I don't think anybody's crazy. It's Amika. But anyways, hello everybody.
You could just call me Jess. I'll butcher her name.
I think everybody has basically said what I was gonna say. The only thing that I wanted to add, at least from my perspective, was from the beginning, I watched when they were rotating people for a year, and Loren applied for the job. Loren was one of the people that filled in. And it's like, you got passed up for Jess. So Jess was good enough to beat you out of that position. So everybody loved Jess at first when she first came on. Now she chose to put, Loren in her spot when she went on maternity leave. But then the comments went back and forth. Sometimes people like Loren and miss Jess, and then she kind of grew on people. I also think us as viewers and listeners did not know that Loren was a producer. So she has this unfair advantage of looking like, oh, she comes in and she's on her stuff and she knows what she's doing. Well, that's part of what the producer does. The producer gets the stories. The producers feed the talent, the details. So if it's Loren's job to do all this research And now you're expecting Jess to do that. That's not what her job was. That's never been what her job was. She's supposed to add a comic relief to it. So now Loren is looking like this journalist, but it's kind of an unfair skew viewpoint because Loren is basically doing two jobs. She's
I like
doing
that
the
you
job of producer and the job of talent.
and I like that you said that because I missed saying that. I don't think it's fair to compare the two because they were both hired for two different jobs originally. And I could be wrong, but I think Loren is I think she is a journalist, right?
Right. She used to work at
And then
TMZ.
and then one of her actual job is to do the research and to get all the information and to chase down the leads or whatever of the story. So naturally, this was what she was already doing. So now you put a mic in front of her. Yes, it does sound like she's more prepared for what she's doing because this is what she's already been doing. Jess hadn't had to do that previously because Loren was doing it for her. Or did I miss
Correct.
it? That's correct. Okay.
So
I
all
think
she
that's
had to
why
do
she.
was like Jess is, I mean, they're supposed to look at this
really
stuff
quick.
and
Hold on.
kind of,
Super quick.
get themselves familiar with
Hold
it.
on, Emika. Hold on
Uh-huh.
one second. There's a few things that we don't know. We don't know when Loren was put in place to be her producer. That's something that I'm sure will come out when this all fails. If Loren was brought in as a producer because they did not feel like Jess was capable of doing the job, then Loren does have insight that the rest of us don't have. If we do see Loren saying, hey, I need you to watch this documentary so that you can be prepared because this is what you're going to need to talk about. That is the producer's job to do that. If she's getting pushback, I would not be surprised if she was going to the higher up saying, I'm trying. We don't know why Loren was put in place to produce her. Maybe Jess was who they wanted, but it wasn't as effective as they needed. And that's okay to say. That should have been communicated to Jess. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Tommy who made the point. We don't technically really know because Jess is leading with emotion.
Yes.
We don't know what was communicated to her. We don't know why Loren felt that the EP needed to be there to witness it because on air, if the EP had not been there, then Jess would have been allowed to say, I don't remember you ever saying that to me about not telling you to be quiet or shut up or whatever. So I don't know if I feel like she was gaslit. I feel like they were underhanded. They probably
it was gaslighting on a different. It was gaslighting because my thing is.
Hold on one second. I don't know if it was gaslighting because I don't know now if I trust everything that she said. And we're going just solely based on her word because nobody else was as unprofessional to just go online and put it out there. So we have one person's point of view. I do feel like we can all agree that corporate structure is not set up to be fair to the worker. So we know that corporate is probably on some fuck shit. But somebody said Mims, what? Mims, but to call at 3 a.m. in the morning to say watch a movie is crazy. If my job starts at 5 a.m. and we're going to be like, I don't think that people realize that morning radio shows are that. You need to wake up at the butt crack of dawn and be prepared to talk about topics. With Fox Soul, they spent about an hour, I believe it was an hour. Maybe it was 30 minutes going over what the topics were so that they would be prepared to talk about it. We don't technically know. We know one side.
Okay, could I say one
But that
thing?
also goes to the generation thing because, like, for me, if I have to start work at 9 o'clock, that means I need to be there at least 30 minutes early. That way, if I need to get my coffee together, I want to go through my emails, whether I'm answering them or not. I want to go through them to set up. Basically, if my start time is 9 o'clock, that don't mean just turning your computer on at 9. But that's my generation. The later generations, if they're supposed to be there at 9, they really honestly feel like that means they come in at 9:10. They make their breakfast, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't like that, but the younger generation really do feel like they're supposed to prep after 9 o'clock if the start time is 9. The older generation feels like, no, 9 o'clock, you already supposed to be working. All that other stuff, you supposed to do that way before 9 o'clock.
Can I add one more thing in?
I wanted to
Okay,
add
so
one thing
hold
too.
on. So just to clarify, the Breakfast Club, the world's most dangerous morning show, it starts at 5:30 a.m., which means you have to be prepping for work probably at like 3:30. It's not crazy.
Agreed.
It's not crazy because that is the structure of the job. If you are an early morning show, you know that you are going to need to be up at the butt crack of dawn. For normal people who my job starts at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., I'm thinking 3 a.m. is crazy, but not for that structure.
Yeah, and it's a lot of research. I wanted to say,
shut up, Trent.
Can I add one thing before you say it, Amy? I just wanted to add one thing in. The one thing that nobody touched on that is a problem is the conversation between Charlamagne and that light skinned dude saying something like, or Charlamagne saying, "Why don't y'all like fight this out like girls fighting?" You know, it'll
I think he was
make
just
them.
trying to lighten the mood, to be honest with you.
Well, you know, I think that he should have just kind of just laid out of that one, even if he was trying to lighten the mood, because I don't think that professionally he should have been advocating, even if he was trying to light the mood. It doesn't land right to like sound like let them hoes fight, right? Even if he thought it was funny.
Yeah, I get what you're saying,
Okay,
but
can
he
I
was
say
doing
what?
a lot of that.
Hold
Let me
on.
finish my
Hold on,
point.
Amy. Hold on 1 second. So we got like a full panel now because everybody's been up for so long. I want to get the people in who just came in. Everybody who's been up is willing, but we gotta let other people jump in. Mrs. BR, have you had a chance?
No, I have. Hi, ma'am.
Jump in, Mrs. BR, then Keita Bug, then Tony Amber, and then Miss Cargill.
Okay. Ma'am, answer this for me because I haven't been watching the Breakfast Club that long. Was the Angela lady a comedian?
Hold on, somebody has me playing in the background. So if anybody has the show on, you gotta
You have to mute it.
It's mustard on the beat.
If you're not talking, go ahead and mute. So only Mrs. BR should be unmuted.
Was Angela a comedian? Angela Yee? Was she a comedian?
No,
I don't know.
Oh no, I'm laughing because she was not.
Oh, okay. So when they hired Jess, which I didn't know who she was, so they hired her to be a comedian, correct?
They chose to go in a different direction than Angela Yee, who was more of the straight person in the show and delivered the gossip, very similar to Loren, very professional.
Okay. Just as Wendy, I don't think she knew who she was during that first interview because she said, "Hi, I'm Jess," and Wendy was like, "Oh, okay," and just brushed over. I don't know who Jess is. I've seen her a few times on the show, and she doesn't speak very. Let me not say it that way. She doesn't speak her.
You can be honest. It's okay. We're not gonna stone you. Go ahead and speak your piece.
Her reading isn't that well. I don't know what she's reading off of, but I know Loren from TMZ, and Loren is very professional. So if they hire Jess going towards that route, I don't think it's right for them now to just turn and go towards a different route. Am I being wrong? You know,
I think that they took a chance. Jess, so a little background on Jess. Jess got her start with just being Jess. Like Jess she's funny. And she's in the wave of social media comedians. Then she did what's that dude with all the children? The nigga with all the children. He has all the children in the world.
Nick Cannon or
Yes,
Wilding Out.
Wilding Out. So
Right.
she's funny on the spot. She is younger than Angela Yee, so she probably skews to a younger demo than what they have currently. Because I believe Angela, Charlamagne, and DJ Envy are closer to 50 than they are.
That's
30.
my age group, correct? Right.
So they did try something different.
Okay.
If that answers your question.
Okay, I can see that.
Not Dick Cannon. I'm done.
Okay, maybe that's why, like I said, I didn't know who she was, but the few times I have it come across my screen, I'll watch, and she's not really funny, and her reading isn't the best. If I had somebody in preschool as a kid, I would not want her teaching my child. But Lauren is just very professional. I used to watch her on TMZ, um, and I just feel they're going a different route. She should have been warned or told that, this is what we're doing. But
Mhm.
her anger is at the wrong person. It should not be with Lauren. Is how I feel. So I don't know whose team I'm on. I don't know. I'm confused.
I don't think I'm team don't put it on. Don't actually put it on for the world to see. I think
Yeah,
that was
I agree with that. Exactly. I agree with that. That's something behind doors that should have been done. Or as Wendy used to say, kitchen table talk. Take it, don't bring it to the forefront for everyone. So are they going to get rid? I mean, so it's just gone?
no.
Okay.
But interestingly enough, she did say that they were going to be reducing her to 2 days out of the week.
Okay, well, maybe she needs more time with her child and she can teach her child how to read, and read to her child. That's good. Maybe that's what she needs. And she could be dealing postpartum. I mean, you don't know
Not,
what somebody goes
she's
through.
not doing that. She's
Could I
she's
say one
she's
thing
gonna do
though?
her. She's gonna be doing her stand up. So Jess is booked. This was a different lane for Jess,
Mm.
but she's booked.
Okay.
She's gonna be doing her stand up comedy. So
Yeah.
she's not gonna stop working.
And after having a baby, it's hard. You don't know what she's going through, It's
Mm-hmm.
hard after having a child. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's what's best for her. She'll be okay.
Keita Bug, where you at? I know you have an opinion.
Okay, so I'm gonna come from. I recently did a couple of years ago. A friend of mine's had a podcast that he started, and I watched him struggle on his own. So when he asked me to help him, I'm like, okay, cool. So I get on the podcast. We have a good vibe, but I'm thinking, and I'm gonna say this. I think the reason why Jess is pissed is because just like I was at one point, me and my friend, like we've known each other for years. So we do the podcast, and I don't see the numbers and the views. And he was like, "Well, I'm gonna bring on this girl. She has all these views." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, we're good." But it was something about this woman that I couldn't put my hand on. I just kept saying something about her, like I'm trying to be nice, but I really don't like this girl. But he kept saying the numbers, the numbers, the numbers. So long story short, it was just like I was in the background talking to him like, hey, I know you're looking at the numbers, but it's me and her are not gelling right. And I'm thinking that's probably what Jess did. She's not coming from a business perspective. She was coming as like, you two are my friends, and I can talk to you and say, hey, this is how I feel. And I'm thinking that you're going to have my back. You know what I'm saying? So when I say yes, I say X, Y, and Z to envy or the Charlamagne and God, she's thinking when she comes back in, those are my friends. I know if anybody else don't got my back, they do. And she's probably thinking that, but just like my situation where my friend at that point wasn't looking at it as a friend, he's looking at it as a business and look at these numbers. Long story short, it was like you get to a point, I know me, I'm trying to be professional and I'm even trying to be on the show and try not to snap off. You know what I'm saying? But I had to get to the point where I snapped partially a little bit online. I snapped because I'm just like, I'm trying to fix this, but nobody's hearing me. And what I should have done instead of coming from feelings, come from facts. Because when I eventually came to him with facts, he saw it better. You know what I'm saying? But I think in a lot of times people have to think about friendship. When it comes to business come first. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I think what Jess is feeling is like, you should be my friend, but she don't realize that business comes first. And like they said, well, we don't look at the comments. Yes, you do. Just like my friend did. They say they don't look at comments, but they do because that's letting you know what direction to go. You know what I'm saying? And I think the reason why Charlamagne the God and DJ Envy have not stepped up the way she thinks they should is because every time that they do, they already got their own shit on them too. DJ Envy can't step up and help you because he's gonna be automatically dog pound him. What about the lawsuit? What about this? Charlamagne the God.
What about Erica Mena? Remember when you slept
Yeah,
with Erica Mena? Remember when you
yeah.
was cheating on your wife with Erica Mena?
Yeah, and Erica Mendez recently said, brought so it's like he can't really step up and say nothing. And then Charlamagne the God is gonna be every time he step up and say something. What about the sexual assault thing? So it's like, and then I also liked how Loren handled it because she was like, hey, because remember Jess was like, well, you should have said something online. She was like, basically like, I'm not gonna do you like that in front of everybody else. I'm gonna pull you to the side. So I think what it was is Jess is coming from facts and not feeling. She's feeling like I've said this more than enough. Somebody should have been heard me and nobody's listening. And I think a lot of times when you're coming from feelings, you're not seeing the whole picture. I think what it was is Loren is actually, from my perspective, Loren is like, yeah, I feel you. I'm here for you, but you're not seeing what I'm doing because you're so busy in that look of I don't like you. I can't stand this girl. And it's the same thing I did. I could not like she could be handing me a band-aid and I'm bleeding, but I don't want it because it's coming from you. You know what I'm saying?
I would have been like, you can bleed
Was.
it. You don't want my band-aid? You can go ahead and bleed it out.
I would have. I would have took some leaves and covered up a bleeding. I'm just not. You know what I'm saying? On our end, eventually it did, and how I felt because I'm like, even though this girl got a lot of falling, this shit is gonna fall apart, and it did. And me and my friend, we did come to the conclusion that we both apologized how it went. But like I said, I think a lot of times I think she's looking at it as I've said this a lot, and my friends should step up. But it's a whole business, like you know what I'm saying? Like I think I'm almost done. I think Jess took on more than what she was prepared to do. That's what I think is the big thing. She took on more than what she was prepared. And I'm with my friends. I'm with my friends. And a lot of times we're friends, but when it comes to business, you see a different side of your friends, and you're like, how the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like I thought you know my mama. Like what are you doing? But it's that business side that is kicking in, and she's not used to that. And I believe it all moved forward, and she snapped. Because that's what I think it happened.
I agree with you
Hold
because
on,
I
hold
have
on,
a
hold on,
thing.
hold on.
I don't mix
Hold on, who's this?
business with. I'm
Who's
sorry,
this?
Miss VR. I don't mix business with my friends nor my family, and I agree with you on that because business is first, and to not have a fallout with family or friends, and we're not talking at the cookout. I just don't mix business with friends and family. I don't do it. So I agree with you with that. She figured her friends should have her back, but it's business first. So I
So
agree
are
with
we saying this all could have been settled if Charlamagne the God had just made Corey the donkey of the day and aired him out online?
That could have been.
it. Could be.
No, y'all are missing it. She
I
was
have a
already
different
being,
opinion.
she was
I was being funny.
I wasn't just speaking to
I
you.
got it.
I've been listening to everybody, and nobody is actively like paying attention to the fact that she was already being demoted. She lashed out because she was going to be brought to just 2 days a week. So it's not just, oh, you guys did me wrong. I'm already being demoted. So Loren
Oh,
isn't going anywhere. I'm only coming to 2 days a week. And now I'm pissed. And now I'm going to rally my troops because I am a social media person and that's what I can do.
And
oh, so
I
she's
say
upset about being
Hey,
something?
ma'am,
demoted as
can I
well.
give my
Yes.
opinion?
Is
and
it Tony?
Sorry, I didn't know who was next.
It's
It
no,
was
it's Miss Cargill.
it's who?
I think it's
Miss
me.
Cargill.
Me.
I thought it was Tony, Amber, then Miss Cargill.
Yeah, it's me.
And so yeah, Tony, Amber, Miss Cargill, and then it's a free for all.
Okay, so after Tony, I'll go.
Okay, we ready? Ready for
Yeah.
me? Okay. So one of the things, Mems, I was glad that you tapped on early is the corporate culture. And from I have to say, with the Breakfast Club, I think I stopped watching it, I guess, towards when Yi was leaving. I started watching it because of Jess, because I wanted to see what what the new spin was on it, because Jess is now the social media. But over all of the years, what I saw, even with the back and forth with Yi and Envy and Charlamagne, it seemed as if there was a gaslighting culture, corporate culture going on already. And just absolutely spoke to that. She said, when I came back, that we had a plan. We were, I come in, because I remember I watched that day. Loren was in her seat and she popped out and she's like, okay, I'm here now. And it was like her grand, her grand opening of her coming back. Loren got out of her seat. I said, okay, Jess. But then progressively after that, everyone in the comments while Jess was gone, it was all about Loren. And Charlamagne, Envy, I've watched that they kind of play to that, and I know Jess is a social media person. So of course she's in the comments. Of course she's home with her new baby. Of course she's watching all of this, and it's like, okay, I got to get back because, I got to pop out on them. But now, Jess said something with all of everything that she said that popped out to me. She said that, oh, you told me, Charlamagne, you told me, you know, um, don't say be quiet. Next time, just tell her to shut up. Don't say anything. Make sure that, you play to the audience, don't say anything. Just tell her shut up. And she said, yeah, you know what? Be quiet and hush is really not my style. So he's in the background, he's feeding, this is the stuff that was happening when Yi was there, little, things behind the scene. And she keeps saying, like, what's going on? I'm trying to find out, keep asking them, is she going to be here? Is it going to, they're like, no, we only need 3 people. Now they're telling her they need 4 people. So I remember when Just started, I don't know if you remember, Mems, when Just announced that she was going to be there,
I was
they
all
all,
over it. I was
yeah.
messy. Yes, I remember.
Do you remember when they put the position on LinkedIn?
For 300,000, right?
Right at the same time,
Wow.
announced that she was going to be there.
No,
So
it was already on there. People found
right,
out that that's how much she was supposed to be getting paid.
right. So she was like, she said, did today or yesterday, how she was like, I got it. I negotiated, that thing was kind of like hanging over, like the LinkedIn, the 300, the 300,000. And she's like, I negotiated my contract. I'm here. I deserve it. I'm here. I've always wanted it. But to go back to speak to the corporate culture, corporate, when you go out on maternity leave, it's like, it's a double-edged sword. Either they're going to be begging based on how you perform on the job, how you show up. Either they're going to be begging for you to come back. Oh my God, this person is horrible. Where's Jess? Or they're going to be trying to replace you. And they're not going to say anything. They're just going to let it play out, watch you, cut yourself open and bleed open. And they'll just watch you until you die out, and that's what's happening. Jess, and she doesn't understand the culture. It's bigger than Envy. It's bigger than Charlamagne. They're doing all of this for views, for listens, because before Just came, really, I mean, they were talking about the Breakfast Club as far as them being dinosaurs at this point. Now, like, everything is viral. Everybody's talking about this. Then you got Corey, then you got academics. They're saying all of these things. And I can, as a woman, I could say, listen, why is it that these guys haven't said anything? Yeah, where's the donkey of the day? Where's all of this? They're playing all of this off of her back. And yes, she's not professional. They knew that when she got there. She's a social media presence. She's
Tony,
not.
can I give a little pushback? Just a little.
Yeah, come on.
What if not come on?
Because you want it.
Oh,
Let's go.
What if
So what you got?
what if they didn't give Donkey the day because they agreed?
They do,
No,
and that's what they're hiding.
I do understand. They absolutely agree. That's why it's like the passive aggressiveness of it, and they're seeing her because she's like, I have to get back out here on the road. I have to get back. I got to get back here on the road because she sees that her future there hangs in the balance. Absolutely. Lauren is a beautiful young woman. She's well polished. She
Yes,
came
she's pretty.
from TMZ and she knows, I mean, she's also ambitious. She knows the game. You understand? She knows that when she comes in, she has to show that she belongs there. So for just to say, well, yeah, I came back and she didn't move. She's still here. That's what the corporate do. Just sit there. You know, they're like segueing her out. And she sees it and she's emotional about it. And I feel for her because she doesn't understand the temperament. Because she's saying it. I asking you guys, what's happening? What's going to happen? What's going on? No, nothing, everything's fine. That's the gaslighting of corporate. That's what they do.
I mean, I have a little bit more compassion for her now when people started informing me that she might be going through postpartum. I'm
Absolutely.
I'm just a different person. I guess I'm so accustomed to the corporate structure. If
Yes.
it were me, by the time I brought it to you guys that somebody had really wronged me, I would have all my I's dotted and all my T's crossed. I would have been like, this is what was said. This is how I responded. This was me taking accountability. This was me trying to do better. This was me. This was their response to me. Nothing is wrong. Blah, blah, blah. I would have brought it it's just the way my mind works. So sometimes when I see people flying off the handle and I'm like, well, you're not necessarily bringing receipts and they can come back and make you look crazy because this may not have been the way it is and you're dealing with emotion. I lead with logic and I guess I lack some of the emotional context. So sometimes that's why I don't mind opening a panel because maybe other people don't think like me, but
This is eye opening for me too, because I look at it like I don't understand why it's I guess I'm not used to the level of corporate that you're in to understand why that is so like important to just keep your level head. Because
I
when I
should
see
have
her
said it
crying,
too.
I feel so bad for her. Because I'm
I
like,
Yeah,
why
because
don't someone just tell her the
do.
truth?
he's
Amy,
a fit
I have a crazy
I
person.
don't.
I have a crazy person who comes after me all the time. By the time I finally said something, I had everything that I needed to know. Every horrible thing this person had said about me, every horrible thing this person had said about other people,
Mhm.
how she had tried to sell her body for oxtails. I
Oh
had
Lord.
all of that. Like I had all of my I's dotted and T's crossed by the time I actually like brought it to you guys because there was no effing way that I'm going to let somebody take me down. And if I'm going down, we're all going down.
I get.
Again,
Well, here's the
I guess
thing.
I'm
Also,
Can I
so
the other
say?
thing that
sympathetic
needs
because when
that
I saw her
Oh,
crying,
hold on, because we still got Amber and Miss Cargill.
I'm sorry.
Amber, you're up, and then Miss
Hey,
Cargill.
I love your content, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'm team nobody because I'm the type of person multiple things can be true. So the first thing I thought of is number one, Charlamagne and Envy are lazy. They're the
Yes.
same ones who failed to do research because when Amara La Negra came on there and Charlamagne was like, "Oh, what's Afro Latina? I don't know what that is," and he acted confused and lost.
Mm.
I don't even know
They
what nationality he is.
exactly. So they're comfortable in what they've been doing that they relied on Angela as a crutch to do like the bulk of the journalism, all of that work for them. I know that they were trying to do something different to generate views because there were people that did complain about Angela. Like, don't they? I mean, they complained about Envy. They felt like he was lazy, and Charlemagne he used to do the most. But people did complain about Angela being boring. But she did do the bulk of the journalistic work. Like that's a fact. So I felt like they were like, okay, let's shift it. Let's try to, get some new blood in here. But they should have found someone similar to Angela who was going to do that journalistic work that they failed to do. And
Mm.
them picking Jess was dumb to me.
Low hanging
Bec-
fruit.
I mean, I would say more so because she doesn't have the experience. Like any and I can't even, shame Charlemagne all the way because he did work in radio for years and he did work under Wendy Williams for years. So I do give him that.
Mm.
Um, he also does things outside of it, like podcasts. I mean, they'll interview him like different news segments. So he has earned his stripes, but I do feel like with Jess, I personally was trying to understand what, okay, that doesn't make sense to me. And then my thought process for Jess is, girl, you got the job and you start auditioning in January and you got the job in February. This is not a data entry job where you can type on your computer for JC Penney's catalog and work in the background and other people could fill in for you. This is a job where you have to be on the radio and they have to hear you. So what the hell made you think that, oh, I'm gonna come on here in February and then I'm gonna go on maternity leave in August?
That's true.
The sense is not sensing for me. So you
That's
go on
crazy
maternity
work.
leave. Oh, sorry, what you
Crazy
say,
work.
sis?
No, I said that's crazy work right there.
Right. So you like, oh well, y'all should accommodate me and then she said in her life, I chose to have my baby and I'll do it again. And you should be okay. Well, if they chose to get that other bitch up in there to take your spot. So that part made no sense to me. So I'm sorry that I don't have a ton of empathy because it'd been different if she came off the rip like, I really need my job, I need to pay my bills. We're in a raggedy economy with inflation, okay?
That is so
But this the
true.
same person who the whole time was talking about, I don't really need this job, I'm booking shows, I don't even need to be here, that's why I was on my phone. And she calling me at 3 a.m. and the comments are saying this and this. Well, Buki, you can go. And that's my thing with influencers. Like, I think that our just the way that we are, and it's like we look so much to influencers as the new celebrities, but we do actually have people who put in the work, people who went to college, who studied journalism, who intern for raggedy ass companies that don't want to pay them anything. And so I see like the difference in the work ethic between Lauren. She acts like she needs her job because she left TMZ to come here and this is y'all gonna help pay her bills, and just acts like it's just a bother, like it's a chore, it's a task. And that's how she's been acting the whole time. Even in live that I watch, I was like, okay, well, do you need your job? Because then you can go. So I do feel like while she was on maternity leave and she was ill prepared, didn't even was what not even paying attention during the Wendy interview, on her phone, could barely get a sentence through, came off illiterate. They probably were looking like, okay, like we effed up, like we got the wrong person for this role. So at the end of the day, you should know they are not your friends. Charlamagne is all about views. He's all about controversy. He's the same person that's still friends with Andrew Schultz and still does content with Andrew Schultz, the same man who
Oh
talked
yeah.
negatively about Black women and helped try to take another podcast down for because they were in competition with them for views. Charlamagne
Correct.
don't give a damn. He worked with Wendy Williams, the same woman who was out in Diddy and was talking about everybody, Whitney, arguing with Beyonce, her mama, and them. What made you think that he's not gonna be view hungry? Like, you're just a tool. So my thing is either get with the program or get gone. So I do feel like, yeah, she probably did have these conversations with them and they should have kept it real with her. But at the end of the day, like, I'm sorry if I started a job in a public space and then I'm pregnant, bitch. They're gonna be like, okay, well, we're gonna find somebody else to take your place. And then if you're gonna come and demand all
But
of
it should
this,
not be that way. It
it
should
should
not.
not be
It
that way,
should
but
not.
it's that way.
It should not be that way. You should be able to
That should
give
be in
birth,
corporate.
and your job should be still there for you.
And okay, I could see that, but for her to do the Breakfast Club, and also I don't even know like what her contract looks like. I don't know if she's a 1099 employee or a W-2 employee. But I'm saying, like, I
No,
don't know if
Jazz,
she get
I agree.
benefits.
Right, I
But
Amber,
agree.
you coming
if
in
you
super hot.
if,
No,
if
I
you
agree.
leave,
I agree with that because I was going to ask Mims, what is her contract? Does it say that you're not? I mean, can we just demote
They
you to 2 days a
said
week?
the posting was online, right? 300,000.
Yeah,
Was
but
it any like benefits or anything?
it didn't
well,
give.
most jobs have to put the post on
I know, but what did
online.
it
Like they
say? Did
just
it offer like benefits and stuff like that? Then you know she's a W-2.
I'm
We
not
don't know.
sure.
But in all honesty, the Breakfast Club is the largest platform that you can go on radio. So even if they were just offering $300,000, the benefit of being on that and
Yeah.
killing
Yeah,
it
the
would far
exposure.
outweigh the amount of money. So
Okay,
it
but
Yeah.
was
ma'am,
like,
And
can
she
she
not
still
acting
get her
like that.
money? Or
say
she's
that
still
again.
able to get her 300?
I don't take
I would think by the end of the year she should get something, right?
that's just what she was saying on her live. So
But she don't act like she need the money. So that's what I just wanted to wrap it up
I
with the
think she's
bow.
lost steam.
But
She's
didn't
lost
she
her
say she
gas.
didn't want it? Or didn't she say she didn't need the job? She wanted the job. She
Well, she
wanted
can
the
go.
notoriety that came from it.
She
I
can
mean, just for
go.
me, and we're gonna let Miss Cargill jump in. Diva, I've added you to the panel, but something is going on with your video.
Can you hear me?
I yes, just hold on one second.
Okay.
I do feel like all of the bullshit that started at the very beginning, it's only been a year. I was seeing a video where she was talking about her salary, and it was literally March 19th, 2024. It's
Oh
literally a
wow.
year to the date where she was having conversations about her salary and renegotiating. I feel like for somebody who does not necessarily have that type of experience, I would have took the $300,000 and I would have tried my best to just destroy it.
But what I have a question.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it's
Well,
set.
but I think 2 days
Hold
is
on one
better for
second.
her because she can do her on the road
Hold on one
thing.
second.
And
Hold on one second, Amy. I think it set a bad tone or it put a bad taste in the mouth. Anytime you pit people against each other, I did not like the Fox Soul way that they were trying to pick a person. I did not like the way the Breakfast Club was trying to pick a person, because what ends up happening is you split the market. Now you have people who like Claudia, you have people who like Jess, you have people that like Loren, and those people aren't necessarily going to attach to whoever that got picked that was not the person that they chose. So it already sets up this negative environment. So you can even see it in these comments. Some of these people never wanted Jess, and after Angela left and the replacement that they thought should have got it didn't get it, they were out. So it's no surprise that when Jess fucks up, people are gonna be on her neck. I didn't particularly like the way that the money situation was such a problem at the beginning, because I was like, this is a real negative way to like start it. When she got pregnant soon after, I didn't really see a problem with that because people have babies all the time. People have said that Jess should, have worked the way Wendy Williams worked all through it. I don't really feel that somebody needs to do that, to be honest with you. But when you are on air, you kill it. You pay attention. You don't type on your phone. Like I think that she had her own F ups. But Miss Cargill, you're up.
Hi. So I think I have a different take. I come from a corporate structure, been in the corporate world for 15 years. So I think for Jess, she said that in the interview that I saw earlier, she said that this wasn't her job, right? So apparently her job description read being marginally funny, and then obviously everybody's job description says or other duties assigned. That other duties were obviously reading, and she wasn't the most literate person. And I think
we got to stop that narrative, though. Go ahead.
no,
But she said it.
No,
she
because
was not that.
it's not a thing about
Well,
literacy.
can
It's
I
about
finish? Can I finish?
I'm
Can I
sorry. Go
finish?
ahead.
She wasn't that good at reading off a cue card. She was not, or at articulating her points effectively. But herein lies the issue. Jess had a year. If you are at a job, $300,000 a year at a job where you don't have a degree that she obtained based off her social media clout, not off any other reason. She has no journalistic background, no experience in radio, so she got it solely based off her journalistic clout. So when she was giving feedback, if she's a person that raised the comments, I know she saw people, alluding to the fact of how poorly she read those cards. I'm sure they pulled her to the side and said, Jess, you're not articulating your point effectively. What she should have done is taking some public speaking classes, some improv classes, something to improve. She did nothing. She put in no work to improve. She was the same way at day 365 as she was at day one. And she was demoted because of her poor behavior. That's a corporate structure. In no job can you perform poorly for an entire year and think that you're not going to be fired or demoted. She was demoted solely based on her poor performance. And instead of her taking that, she went to social media because that's her background and she has low emotional IQ, and she lashed out, taking zero accountability for the work she did not put in. And for me, I disagree with the person that said from a PR standpoint that this makes it harder to get rid of her. It absolutely lays the case to get rid of her, because I would. Because you went down here, you didn't own any of the things that you did do to improve on the job. You went out here, you bash your coworkers, effectively making it a hostile work environment. You went off on Lauren on cast, told her to shut up, overtalked her, and did all these things to make a hostile work environment. She laid the case to get rid of herself. There's no accountability from a corporate standpoint. I don't think it had anything to do with her having a baby. She has zero accountability. Um, she let adulation build her up, and she also let adulation tear her down. And instead of doing the work to improve, she did nothing. And this is why she's where she is. So I'm not team Jess or team Lauren. I just don't think she put in the work that she should have to be an effective employee, and the corporate structure kicked in. They got rid of her. And I would have done the same.
Okay,
But I
so
would have gotten rid of her in 6 months.
Period.
Before you guys go in on Miss Cargill,
I had a
Jess,
question for Miss Cargill.
Jess was actually the one who, through a joke, acknowledged that Lauren's ability to read was part of what she lacked. Jess said that on air. So when people are saying it, maybe it skews to a negative place, but Jess was the one who listed that as one of the issues. She said because Lauren can read. So I mean, I get it, especially people who are fans of Jess, but she's not wrong. She's hold on, Jamie. She's not wrong in the sense that even with me, I have been offered a lot of things for the last couple years. I kept telling you guys I wasn't ready. One of the things for me to do like commercial work or whatever, I don't feel prepared. So that's why I will be taking classes with somebody to assist me with that. There's nothing wrong with saying I'm not really ready for that yet, and I don't want to look crazy.
But you sound humble, and I think that's the
I have a
difference.
question for Miss Cargill. What's her name?
Miss Cargill?
Miss Cargill. So do you don't feel like with that whole discussion online, even though it was unprofessional, you didn't feel like they were gaslighting her at all?
I don't know that. I don't really feel as though they were gaslighting her. I mean, she sat there and she said, "I don't remember having that conversation." So, and if they were gaslighting each other. I don't remember the conversation Lauren said we had. So they could have been gaslighting each other. So if it was happening, it took places on both sides. But Jess needs to own where she fell short, and she fell short of preparing. She accepted a position. Not only was she not qualified for, she wasn't prepared for. I would have taken the classes. She could have done the work and been great at this. She didn't do the work. She didn't read up or prepare for anything. Anytime you go into work and you prepare for a meeting, you put hours of preparation. She put zero into it, and that translated into what took place on the show. She came off as inexperienced, ill-equipped, ill-informed, all of that. And she just seemed uninterested. And first of all, which of you could tell your boss, I took off work to go do another job? Like what?
But you sound like, I mean, it just goes back to the difference between people who actually work in corporate versus influencers. A lot of influencers are used to just putting content out and then having brands or having deals and having things offered to them. But this is like a job that you actually have to work at. And it just seems like she brought her an influencer mindset versus like a humble mindset of I want to work my way up and gain experience.
Miss Cargill, can I ask you a quick question? Are you in upper management?
I am.
She said she was.
Okay, so you are.
Yeah, I'm
So I asked her, did she feel like it was Cargill?
I'm with Miss Cargill. I'm Miss BR, and I am in upper management for 30 years.
Okay.
And when I first started my job in my 20s, I wanted to get promoted. I got denied. I had to learn certain things, and I went under those that were excellent in what they did. And 30 years later, I'm up very high. So I agree with everything she just said. I did what I needed to do. I took the classes. So I agree with everything she said. I don't think she's wrong with anything she just said. I agree 100% with her.
I'm just gonna add this in. I think that I agree with both you and Miss Cargill. However, this is not the same as a regular corporate job. It's not normal because people have been able to go in here and land jobs with no time. Look at Portia from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Look at the
Yeah,
brat.
Charlamagne doesn't have a degree either.
Thing when Portia was on the radio, she did a good job though. She was entertaining.
But she did do a good job. But what I'm saying is, it wasn't her first uh type of job, and she actually had to go in there. And I think that Ricky Smiley gave her a lot of leeway, and she got good at it.
Portia
But
is
that
sitting there like
Jess
But
this.
didn't
Jess is
get good
also
at
not
it.
a.
And you could have did it.
See how I
No,
get
I did
thrown in
because
the
you
show?
never
I didn't even do
apologized.
Portia
At the end of
is
the day,
Why Portia
I
catching
wasn't trying
strays?
to
She
give her
been
no
catching strays
stray.
this
But
week.
what I'm saying is just that
Put in the work.
it's just not the normal. Yeah, I get it. You're right. Just put in the work. So that's where y'all are both right. Is has she got in there, found out where her weaknesses are, even if they came in and they took her performance evaluation using corporate metrics and said, here's your performance review. These are things that you lacking in. We need you to beef up in these areas. Take these, what do you call them little videos that they have when you go over there and do the little web-based trainings? And
yeah.
so if they had helped her out to build her up. So I'm still push back a little bit, which is the back office. That's a part of her performance evaluation of setting her up to succeed. I don't think that they did that. But then again, she went out pretty early on maternity leave. So I don't know where they had that stretch in there to be able to work with her like that. That's I'm just leave that there.
Yeah, I don't think
Can
that
I,
should be
hold on,
faulted
hold on.
as
Can I,
going on maternity
$1,000
leave.
hold
a
on,
year.
hold on. One second, 1 second. Miss Cargill, are you still up here?
Yeah, I'm saying if they paid her three
Hold
hundred
on,
thousand.
hold on. I have a specific question for you because
Okay.
I too am more prone to the corporate structure. But in all fairness, have you been put in situations as somebody who is in upper management that you know are horrible for your actual employee? A situation where you know that somebody is just going to get replaced. Maybe you thought that the person did an okay job, but upper management said, no, you're not allowed to give them a good level. You're not allowed to give them a good grade. And within 3 months, we're going to be letting them know there'll be no retention bonus, no nothing, right? Have you ever been in a situation where somebody was wronged by somebody over your head and you can acknowledge that person was done horribly, just from a human side?
Yeah, that's a good one.
To answer that question, I have never given anyone a poor evaluation because someone asked me to. Because at the end of the day, I am human, and I'm a firm believer in what goes around comes around. I've always operated on fairness because it's you today, me tomorrow. So if anyone that worked under me, I've always operated in fairness. If they were going to get rid of them, it was going to be something. The decision they made. It wasn't going to be because I graded them poorly. I was always honest. I pulled them to the side, and especially with my black counterparts. I'm gonna pull you up to the side and have a sister girl mom with you. You need to get your shit together, sis. They don't want you here. They don't want any of us here. We have to be twice as educated, work 3 times as hard, and that's true. Jess was given an opportunity that she wasn't qualified to be in. She got walked in the door because of clout. She should have put in the work. We don't often get those opportunities. But so back to the question, I've never had that happen. But anytime I've seen them riding, I always put them together. And I'm like, look, this between me. They don't want you here. You need to get your shit together. Like if you don't have childcare, you need to figure that shit out. You're making $250,000 a year. Figure that shit out. Get you some antidepressant, whatever it is you got at home. Suck it up and leave it at home. Find you a tree. Whatever that tree is, talk to your problems. Leave them at the door and come here and do your job. That's what you have to do. So I always operate in fairness because what's done to them could be done to me. I've obviously in the corporate world, you get asked to do things. I've never done anything I wasn't comfortable with because guess what? I can walk out of here and get me another job tomorrow. I'm loyal to me, to no corporation.
Now, ma'am, as far as me doing my evaluations,
Mm-hmm.
I I never did a poor evaluation because if someone was already in a position before I got there, you knew that this person wasn't capable of doing what they were supposed to do. So I'm gonna do my evaluation and then I'm gonna do it like she just said, I'm gonna do it fairly. But if I did something that was not so well, I will be told, well, look, this person can't do this. So we're not gonna mark this for this person. So I knew that person wasn't able to do what was needed to be done. So it was just, it was what it was. It's, and it still is what it is. So that's just, I don't know. I feel like if you can't do it, like, you shouldn't be there. That's just how I feel. That's
So,
just how
but
I am.
there's also the part where, like, on one hand, I want to give her grace
Mm-hmm.
because I do really strongly, because she was very emotional. So I do want to give her grace in regards to um the postpartum portion of it. But also, and I said it in the chat, but also, and we're all women, most of us are women on this panel, right?
I'm
Right.
not a woman.
There's a certain part though where uh, I
Okay.
didn't want to get into how everybody identify. I was just, I just left it open, left it open.
I
But there's
clearly
also that part where, as women, is, and for me, especially as a woman of color, where regardless of what the duties and responsibilities are supposed to be, we know we have to be better than whatever it is that's required of us.
Mm.
So, to that, from that aspect, and look at it from that perspective, that's where, regardless of how emotional you were, that's where some accountability should have been taken, because regardless of whether you need or whether you want the job, however it goes down, you have to be better than. And if this wasn't somewhere you was planning on staying, then hey, you work hard to make it a stepping stool for where you're going.
Exactly.
One thing about it, no, I haven't been at the same job forever, and not many people are at this point, or not many people are, right? Your grandparents is probably the last people who were somewhere their entire history of employment. So you always set the tone, use each place that you're at as the stepping stone for the next place. There's no employer who I previously worked with where a new employer can call or get the tea on me and it's going to be negative. And no, she definitely screwed up there, because if whatever it was, certain things she shouldn't have had them tell her or train her up on, or whether they sat her down and told her or not, even though I agree that they should have, but whether they did it or not, automatically, no matter how good you think you are at your job, or no matter how good you think you are at something, you can always be better. There's always room for improvement. So she should have been already, as a woman, as a Black woman, you should automatically be looking for areas and avenues of how you can do even better than where you are.
And also
Because
this,
she had it
tell me
made. It
which
was
one
with
of
her
you
friend.
think that you could get online and bash your job and still be employed, whether
Exactly.
she's in the entertainment industry or not. You can't go online and bash your job, and that's because that, even though that's her origins, that's what got her come up. You you cannot get online and bash your job and think you're going to be gainfully employed the next day. It doesn't work like that. She lacks
No, she's
emotional
not fired
intelligence.
though.
Well,
But
that's
even still, you're right. You're not. I would never do it. Like, I don't care what my background is. I would never do it, because it's just, well, that's the professionalism that's lack, because it's
and
just
she
not
lacks
something that you do.
emotional intelligence.
But my question is, Jess, what she has said a couple of times, Jess has said she made the impression that she gave the okay for Lauren to take her place. And my thing is, if I'm gonna give somebody the okay to take my place, I'm gonna do my research. I'm gonna make sure that by the time I come back, this person is not gonna outshine me. Like, if you had do a little bit of research, I would, me personally, I wouldn't have put Lauren in my place, because I'm like, there's a possibility, because like you said, she has way more education, she has way more experience, she's going to outshine me. So me
Did
personally,
she
it
really
makes
have
sense.
that impression that that girl was a producer? That's why.
That's where that
She
lack of
said,
emotional intelligence came in,
but I'm
because
saying, but
she
Jess
read the
said it a
comment,
couple of times.
got
Jess
in
said
her
it a couple of
ego,
times.
and got pissed
But,
off at Lauren instead
but
of
Jess
getting.
did say a couple of times. She put it out there, like how I took it and how Jess put it out there. She put it out there basically like, you wouldn't have been in this position unless I gave you okay. But my thing
No, I
is like,
felt like she cleared it up that she wasn't saying it like that. That's how I took how she
She
said it, and
didn't say
I
it
felt
like
like
that. She
she kept
chose
clearing it up to
Lauren for a
say, "Hey, I want to
reason.
make sure y'all know I'm not saying it like that."
No, no,
But
she chose Lauren because she looked at it like it was a safe bet. Lauren is a producer. She's been helping her. She's going to step in, and she looked at Lauren as she wants to be a producer and not the talent. But what she
Sure.
didn't realize is it looks like Lauren wants to be the talent.
But see,
because
listen,
as
I
a
got put in a
producer,
position before where I was covering for another manager. I managed another department while someone else was on maternity leave. I know how I am. I'm very eager, very driven, but I made absolutely no attempt whatsoever at being good at the position because in the back of my mind, I said, if I do too well in this position, then they're going to try to keep me here. And I wanted to make sure I was able to go back to my normal department because under no circumstances did I want to remain in that department. And I
yeah,
really
but
made it.
that was
I
I
mean, I
think
didn't suck,
Lauren
but I
gave her the
sucked.
impression. Lauren gave her the impression.
Can you hear me?
People are gonna have to
Barely.
mute if they're not talking.
I'm sorry. I was saying Lauren gave her the impression that she's a producer and she didn't want to be talent, and I think that's how why Jess felt comfortable giving her the AOK to fill in for her.
Do you
Oh,
think
hold on,
that
hold
the
on, hold on, hold on,
producers?
hold on one
Oh,
second. Miss Idiva, have you actually had a chance to talk?
No.
Okay, definitely talk, but turn us off in the background.
Okay, I don't have you on in the background.
I don't hear the echo anymore. No, now I hear the echo every time I talk. So I'm just gonna shut up so we can make this work.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can put it back on my Bluetooth. That's where I had it before.
No, just go ahead and give us your take.
So let me connect some dots because I am an avid Breakfast Club watcher. Loren tried out, but when Loren tried out, by her own admission, and she's done lives and vlogs and all of that, she did not show up as her full self. And so she did not get the opportunity during the tryout session. Charlamagne and Jess go back 10 years. He even made reference to that today. The reason Jess is in that seat is because Charlamagne is the most influential on air personality at the Breakfast Club. They kept bringing Jess in there. If you go back and look during the trial period, Jess was brought in more and more and more, and that was to get DJ Envy. Even though she knew of DJ Envy, it was to make sure that DJ Envy was going to have her back and push management to bring her in. And that's exactly what happened. But Jess is not an experienced on-air personality. Jess is great as a comedic actress. She had a substantial platform, and that is what the management behind the scenes was looking for, to bring more eyes to the Breakfast Club, even though they were already number one. And so Charlamagne was campaigning for her. Then DJ Envy started campaigning for her. That is how Jess was able to land that position. The other thing, Jess makes a lot more than $300,000 a year. They advertised the position at $300,000 a year. Jess even did a live, and she told him, "I'm not gonna stop what I'm doing for $300,000 a year. And you all want me to move down here," because she had to move from Baltimore. Just bought a condo nearby, and then she ended up buying a home. She stayed in a condo, excuse me. Then she ended up buying a home. So Jess is making a lot more than $300,000 a year. And so because of her platform, because of her relationships, that's how Jess got that position. When Jess went out on maternity leave, and she even said the reason she wanted the job is because her and her boyfriend, Chris, wanted to start a family sooner than later. So they knew that she was planning to get pregnant because she had said it publicly, on air and off air. And so, but the problem
Are they married?
No, she's not married.
Okay.
Just, her and her boyfriend, they live together, but he's supposed to be proposing soon. Anyway, I'm not gonna get too far in her business, but
we will.
Then the problem was when Jess came in shortly. Well, quiet as it's kept. When she was hired, she already knew she was pregnant. But anyway, but she kept it quiet. She didn't announce her pregnancy until later because She didn't want to come in and be like, oh, by the way, I'm pregnant. So Jess was already pregnant when she came in. If you count the months that she was there, you have to be pregnant 40 weeks. You don't have to be, but if you carry a full-term baby, you're pregnant for 40 weeks. Jess was pregnant when she got the job. And even when she announced it on air, Leonard said, I knew it, but I was going to announce it prematurely. Jess asked.
You're not required to tell your employer that you're pregnant. You're not obligated.
Correct. And so she made sure that she negotiated the contract that she wanted. And then once she announced her pregnancy, she said, this is why I wanted the job, because I want to be able to not have to be on the road so much, so that I don't have to be going out and leaving my baby behind. She said that on air. And so while she was on air, the reading became an issue, but not only the reading was an issue, there were a lot of times that they would bring in guests as to be interviewed, and Jess would sit there and say nothing. She did not do research. When there was a political guest that came in, and it was during campaign season, when they had all of those politicians circling through the Breakfast Club, they had to bring in Angela Yee because Jess would just sit there. Then they started taking her off air, and it was just Envy and Leonard. And so they had to start bringing in Angela Rye.
The fact that you keep calling him Leonard is taking you to the road.
Sorry. So anyway, Charlamagne the God.
That's his name.
For y'all. Charlamagne the God for y'all. I ain't calling him that. But
I
anyway,
just, you can tell if the person likes him or not. They call him Leonard.
I can't stand him.
When
They brought in Angela Rye.
Correct. They had to start bringing in Angela Rye. And then when they would bring in like activists and different things like that, unless it was out of Baltimore, Jess was not in the room because Jess did not know any of those people. So when it was socioeconomic or social justice issues, Jess would just sit there. She would not have input. So then it's you're not reading properly, which her reading did improve, but for an on-air personality, her reading was not where it needed to be.
But she's not an on-air personality.
But that's what she was hired to be. She wasn't hired to be
exactly.
a social media.
She really wasn't.
That was a bonus. She was brought in to be an on-air personality and bring her Jess with the Mess to replace Rumor Report that Angela Yee did. And so then she was also going to bring in her relationship, Jess Fix My Mess piece. And she has a strong social media and comedic following. And so Jess asked for Loren to cover her while she was on maternity leave. Loren was not working at the Breakfast Club prior to Jess asking her to cover her for her maternity leave. Number one. Number two, Jess took an extended maternity leave. Jess was out almost 3 to 4 months before returning. Loren understood the assignment, and she understood the assignment. That was Loren's opportunity for a second chance to show them the Loren LaRosa that was on TMZ. The Loren LaRosa who reaches out. That's her thing. Reach out, Loren. I reached out to da-da-da-da. I reached out to da-da-da-da. Loren was knocking hot topics out the window. She was providing facts. She was providing background. She was providing, I contacted this attorney. I contacted so-and-so. I'm waiting for them to respond back. Okay, so I got more information on this and this and this. Loren was giving hot topics with facts. Loren started blending very well. They have a shtick because she's single, and so her thing is like Charlamagne and her go back and forth, and DJ Envy go back and forth about you ain't got no man and that kind of thing, and she gives it to them just as much as she takes it from them. And the chemistry was undeniable.
Hold on, Miss
However,
Idiva. There's a really bad echo and a lot of clicking. So, is there some way you can move to whatever you were doing earlier?
is that better?
Um,
Is the
no, the
feedback
echo and
better?
stuff is still there. I'm gonna let you work on that really quick, and we're gonna let Ultimate TV give their final words, and then if we get the clicking corrected, then I'll let you back up. So, Ultimate TV, I see
Everybody.
you've been waiting.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Uh, as a former producer for iHeartRadio, a lot of what your guys are saying sounds good. That ain't how it work at the company, right? First and foremost, bless her for speaking her truth. What I know to be true as a producer, as soon as they found out she was pregnant, she would have been fired. If they were trying to be nice, they would have allowed her to come back after she had the baby to do nicey nice on air with everybody and then fire her, because that's what they did to my boss. Unfortunately, when she came back, she had a stillbirth. They didn't keep her, and she was overly qualified. They see you as a liability. Uh, they will fire you for anything. They don't care regarding just having, what's her name, Lauren? Is that her name? Whatever whatever name is.
Mm-hmm.
She does not have the ability to do anything other than recommend to the program director who your replacement will be if you're sick or going on medical leave. They don't have any say over that unless Charlamagne goes directly to the PD and makes the recommendation. Also, they can recommend that Jess never comes back. I think it was a setup. I think they wanted her gone. They wanted her to quit so that they wouldn't have to pay her back pay. And by breaking that contract, they wouldn't have to pay that contract out. So whether she could read or not doesn't make a difference. In radio, you don't have to know anything. It's who you know. It's not what you know. She could have went up there and been blind, crippled with a patch. Don't make a difference. Her job also regarding her being an on-air personality, that's crap. That's not what she was hired for. She was hired to be comic relief, which is what they do to everybody who comes in with an established team that are on-air personalities. Just like with Steve Harvey, just like with Michael Baisden, just like with Ricky Smiley. You're comic relief. That's why she was chosen, because of her following, not because she was an on-air personality.
Well, hold on. Let me push back really quickly. I think those two things are very different. If you're chosen because of maybe you have 5 million Instagram
Yes.
subscribers, and your comic relief is second fiddle. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that she had the largest platform for anyone that they auditioned, and like in any situations, whether you're a model or an influencer or whatever, that sells. So
that's why I think she got the job innately.
Right.
It just so happens to be that, her
Yeah,
being
but
a comedian also
it
helped.
still has to translate to the job. She performed poorly.
But the
Not
point is, I
not
think I
necessarily.
wanted to say with her saying Steve Harvey and Ricky Smiley, the shows were built around them. Jess came into the show as ensemble. Had they built the show as just the Breakfast Club, then she can lead it by being funny, and then had her commentators be more informed than her. That's not how she was brought in. So, although she came in as the comic relief, she still was not leading the group, and that's all the difference when it comes to her position. That's why she looked so weak in her position, because she wasn't really truly contributing anything outside of being funny sometimes.
Do you
Your
think that's why
Unless
the
that's the way
producers
they
didn't
set it up for her.
Hold on really quick. As a producer of the Ultimate TV,
Yes. Yeah.
what would you have done differently with Jess if you were in Loren's shoes?
Well, if I'm just going by the scenario that she laid out from the video that we saw, I would have had to have a backroom conversation with her as to what was the conversation between Envy and Charlamagne. What did they tell her she was going to be doing when she came back? Because they should have been in sync with each other, because it was it's all about the segment. Like, I produced the segment, right?
Okay.
I produced with them. I would not have had Loren in that plan. It would have been just like what Jess said. When she came back, she would have went back to being the executive producer. She wouldn't have been on air.
Well, no, I'm
And
asking
then they
what
would make
what
it.
I- what I'm
Then they would
asking.
make a decision whether or not she would have that same segment, or they would make a new segment for her.
That's not what I'm asking. Specifically, if you are Jess's producer, Ultimate TV,
Yeah.
and you are giving her suggestions as to
Mm-hmm.
what the segments are going to be and how it needs to come across to the audience, and you're
Mm-hmm.
getting pushback, not about the not in the time frame where she had kind of taken her job, but before that, because I still have an issue with Loren saying I need you to watch this and just saying I'm not going to do that because it's early in the morning. What would your response be? Like, what would you do to on-air personality who does not really technically want you to produce them?
You have to go over their head because they're preventing you from doing your job, and I'm not gonna lose my job for that fool.
That's
So I'm
what
going to the PD.
that's I don't really like the whole pitting people apart. I know my title of the video, whatever. But I
Yeah.
do feel like Jess is a hothead and Loren is more so structured. And I would not be surprised if there was some friction as even just producer and on-air talent, just based on what we've heard so far. And I would not be surprised if Loren was in the EP's ear, like, I'm trying to do my job. This is how I want this to play out. And she's not playing ball with me. And then she goes on maternity leave and they say, okay, well, if you feel like you can do it better, go ahead and jump in. She jumps
And
in.
that would be a conversation that she would have had with the PD and Charlamagne, because Charlamagne brought Jess in.
But is it normal for producers to act like they don't know what's like, oh, everything's fine, everything's good? Because that's why she was upset when she approached them. Like, is that a norm?
I wouldn't tell you shit if
Yeah.
you're telling me to shut up on air. I'd be like, everything is great.
Well, then again, here's the drag. The drag is just like Charlamagne said. Was that the gimmick? See, we don't know what they had for the gimmick for the show, because that could have been the whole running gag, and just didn't want to go for the gag. That could have been another reason why she got. All of this is a gimmick. All of it's staged. We stay up late nights staging this stuff. All this is a setup. Didn't you hear her say that Charlamagne wanted her to do that stuff? Have them
But I
go
think he
back and
was
forth
saying
with each
like they
other?
can poke fun at each other about being against
No,
each
he
other. I don't
wanted
think
he
he
wanted
meant
them
for her
to
to
go
really be
throat
fake,
to
like
throat
hate
with
her.
each other, like WWE women wrestling on the radio. That's what he wanted.
For the ratings.
But
'Cause this is
I
gonna
don't
be
know, because
rated.
him and Lauren and Charlamagne has a thing about her not having a man, and they really go at it. But everyone knows at the end of the day, it's nothing serious. I think that's what he was suggesting to Jess. Like, don't take it serious. Play off of the crowds thinking you all don't like each other. But it really wasn't to mean to like just demean her and be nasty to her. Because I think he was saying it like it's gonna be funny if you keep it up and do something
So
like
no,
eh,
that's
eh,
not how
eh,
that
eh.
works.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
That's what I was
And
assuming.
and the reason it wouldn't work is because of the hierarchy. Because in that scenario, Jess had a higher position than Lauren.
Could it have been
Remember, she's a
a
producer.
morning meeting, Ultimate TV, where it's like, okay, we're now trending number 9 for
Yeah.
what's actually going on here. So we're gonna come
Mhm.
in, we're gonna hash it out. At the end of it, we are going to look like we are a united front. But the problem was Jess was really in her feelings because I feel like she was actively getting fucked over by I think that they were planning to remove her, basically. I feel like she was really in her feelings. And when they could not control it, they kept saying, let's take callers. Let's go to commercial. We can fix this. We can fix this. And it continued to get heated. So I can see where some people might feel like this was contrived because maybe they had a meeting about it. Like, okay, y'all just kind of play it up. We'll fix it at the end. And it just was not fixable at the end because there's real emotions. And Loren clearly was not willing to play ball from the beginning. Even if Jess was, at a certain point, it was not for shits, giggles, or jokes like Charlamagne was trying to make it. Envy trying to corral them was not working. I'm interested from your vantage point, what are you doing when shit goes awry like it did today in the background? Are you in somebody's ear
I'm
saying,
gonna
fix
step
this?
down, Mims.
Okay.
Everyone have a nice night.
Thanks,
Sorry.
Tay.
Bye.
Are you saying fix
As
it
me? Oh no.
as a producer?
What
What are you doing when
as
things
a as a first of all that scenario would never have happened because that's an executive producer's job anyway. The talent has no business talking to you like that on air unless it's a bit, right? What would have happened was before they got on air, just never would have made it in the studio. We would have played that up for ratings. Oh, she got locked out. They wouldn't let her in, and we'd have blew that up and taken phone calls. We'd have staged that. We'd have milked that for ratings.
I
And
so
in the
want to know where you
background,
work.
and
I want to be
she would have been in a meeting. In the background, she would have been in a meeting with the PD, either renegotiating her contract or they would have been trying to keep her from suing them.
Okay. Guys, we
So
cannot
for
do this.
me, so for me, it'd have been a gimmick, baby. I'd have milked that. I'd have had somebody in there pretending like she was trying to get in and she couldn't get in. We was denying her, baby. We'd have played that up. Y'all really had something today to talk about.
Guys, we really cannot do this all night. I didn't
Okay,
realize it's
ma'am.
almost been 2 hours.
I'm stepping down. This is Miss BR. I'm about to go Google Jess because the few times I've seen her, she was not funny. So I need to go watch her to see what she's all about, and
She's
maybe I
not fun.
can. She's not funny.
Not in my opinion.
Y'all are
Okay.
hilarious. Okay,
No, I'm
guys.
being serious. A few times I've seen her on at the Breakfast Club, she just wasn't funny to me. That's why I was asking you, was Angela, the lady Angela, a comedian? Because I don't know, but I'm about to go watch her to see what she's about, and I really, really enjoyed this topic, and I love you, Mims.
But thank
Y'all
you
have
guys.
a great night.
I want to thank everybody for coming up. Queen Tulsa,
Can you hear me?
one quick minute, because we're not doing 2 hours. I see you just came in.
Yes. Thank you so much. Listen here. Jess is the new Nene Leakes. She ain't gonna be able to go and work for nobody because of the way that she's handling things. Like I said, with the work ethics, she thinks that it's the Jessica Breakfast Show. It is not your
Hold
show.
on, I'm sorry.
So now why am I in it? And you could have did it. See how I get it wrong because you never apologize.
Continue.
Serious. Remember how she brought that fuss and she started coming out here and telling us things about Bravo? We didn't need to know about Bravo. Now she's over there peddling around on her show that nobody's really interested in. She looked like she was getting into it with her talent. You don't get into it on the radio. When you are there, it is business. Whatever I had going on,
Unless it's a gimmick.
Before work, whatever I have before work, I'm gonna leave it at the door. I'm not gonna take it to my job. I think that they need to get her a therapist because that girl is crashing out. When you know your time is up, your time is up. And like they said, she's not funny. And it's like you wore your welcome out. You're making us uncomfortable. Loren is very educated. She knows how to speak. It is not our problem that you didn't graduate high school because you keep talking about this feels like high school. Well, you should have graduated. And you would know how to act as an adult on the job. How you doing?
Wait, what if a turn of events happens and Wendy takes the job?
I would love that.
It'll never
We'll
happen.
see here.
It'll never happen.
If Wendy
No, sir.
takes the job. Okay, guys.
Unless she has an experienced producer, it'll never happen.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. This ran long, but you guys wanted to do this, and I was happy to do an open panel for it. We'll be back to regular scheduled program tomorrow because this 2-hour live takes me out. So everybody have a good night.
Thank you. Do it more.